Well, I'm Chris Coffey. I have a very special and noticeable guest. If you're from the VV and OMI community, Dan Lee with me today. I appreciate you for coming, Dan. If you're not familiar with Dan, he is a VV OMI content creator. Also makes all kinds of other content, like on Epico Regal. I mean, you see some of it right here, and all kinds of different ones. So definitely go sub to Dan. He's at 7.9K. You probably know exactly the number, but that's right next. That's close to the 8K, man. For me, like that 1K milestone is pretty awesome. So how far away are you from that?
Yeah, I actually just hit 7.9K, so like 7,900 just recently. So I just broke that.
Okay.
It's been kind of grindy actually to get through recently because of the kind of the bear market and things like that. But I've had an increase in growth recently, which I'm happy about.
Heck yeah, man. No, absolutely. During the bear market, I think I was doing like a third of the videos I'm doing now, and I was growing like 4 times the pace my
Yeah,
channel. So, nobody wants to watch videos when they're down a ton and when like maybe they don't have as much money to invest or, the market's going to trash. Like that's the last thing people want to spend their time doing.
for sure.
So yeah, definitely grinding it out as a content creator. So if you're watching this video live or you're watching it later, go give Dan a sub. If you're for some reason watching this and not subscribed to him, get him past the 8K mark. That's awesome, man. I feel like again, every thousand's huge, and I feel like getting closer and closer to that 10K, like that 10K. Which shout out to our boy Kyle Wilson, just hit 10K.
Yeah.
Is like absolute milestone. So yeah, again, thanks Dan for coming on. The big thing, the big topic that we're going to talk about today is, of course, OUP, man. It got dropped Friday or Saturday. You've already dropped 2 different videos on it, man. There's so much work that goes into those. Like guys, like you don't even know. Like not only like people think like not only do you have to make the video, edit, promote it, blah blah blah. Like you have to really be like analytical and research and take good notes while you're watching it, man. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, I watched the thing like at least 1.5 times, and I'm still like trying to like process. Like God, that was a lot of information that we just got, and that's why I really value people like you that are able to break it down and like talk about different aspects. So that's generally what we're going to do in this video today. So I'm just going to rip the band-aid off, man. What's your favorite part of the OMI utility programs that you saw?
Yeah, the biggest part for me, I really love the crypto to gem aspect to that. We actually had that feature early on, and apparently, these are what people tell me. But back in the day, people would kind of game it a little bit. They would convert their OMI to gems and go back, and they would burn a little bit of OMI somehow there. So to see that back is kind of great. And shout out to Adam, aka Pudding Cheeks, for putting this out because I think this is one of my favorite features because it's something that we started off with that was taken away and now we have that back. And really all that is, crypto the gem, OMI to gem, really is just a way for taking your crypto or your OMI, um, getting it into the app, getting gems from that, and some of those fees being kind of burnt there. So
Yeah.
I think that's incredible.
Same, man. I think that's extremely bullish. And, for a while, I was kind of doubting whether it's going to come back. Not forever, but like just because there's been so much stuff, so much things labeled as security. Like, is VV an exchange? Is it labeled as an exchange? So maybe, they are trying to be safe and just take it off. So to hear Reese say that was a huge relief to me because I think that's incredible for the ecosystem.
Agreed totally.
Did anything about this? So like obviously like the running joke is like soon when, long timelines. So it's been a while since we saw the first edition of the OUP. I was making videos on the first edition of the OUP as well as you were probably almost last year at this time. Was there anything when this dropped that like surprised you? Like you weren't expecting it at all?
Yeah, just comparing it to the original OUP article, there was a lot of criticisms that first iteration, really because it was not completed. It wasn't
Mhm.
really put together. It was just basically a bunch of ideas thrown out there. And to see that kind of this transformation, this evolution to something that I think is a very elegant, well thought out system is something that definitely really impresses me. Because all these ideas individually are things we've either saw before or was leaked out previously, but to see it all kind of come together, if I'm thinking of a way to kind of game it in a negative way, it's really hard to do that. And of course, we know this is a living document, so things will change. People always find a way to game the system or take advantage of
Mhm.
something. And the fact that things are going to evolve and change over time, I'm definitely really bullish on as a whole. One thing I really like is VV versus golden tickets, and I don't really understand this 100%. And I know it's going to change from the recent resamming on Discord just like an hour ago. But the fact that you get these golden tickets through staking, and I think it was reward season 5. So that's every reward season is like 3 months. So season 5, roughly, you're going to get these golden tickets that you can use to secure like a VV versus land draw. So that's what I think I'm incredibly
course.
bullish on, because you know Reese has talked about how he didn't want a situation where just whales overpower the little guy and they can just grab up all the land immediately, and then we have the scraps. But this is a way where if you earn, stake a reasonable amount of OMI, you can get a golden ticket, hopefully, and then use that to actually get a piece of land. So I think that's really, really cool. We don't know what that looks like, but I'm definitely very bullish on land. I know a lot of people
Is
are too.
is that on? Just so I can give a visual representation. So I just had the bronze ticket up. Is that golden ticket like somewhere that I can like pop up real quick? Is it in the token portal,
It,
or is that just mentioned in the video?
it is in the token portal. There's kind of a little blurb there, and you got to follow that. It's kind of a little bit unorganized in
Mhm.
that regard, but they talk about it briefly in a couple different points there. So I'd have to kind of go take a look to really kind of find
Okay, cool.
what that was.
Yeah, I was gonna give a visual representation. And what you said too shows that like you've been here for a while, because I've been trying to tell people that originally they were talking about land. They really wanted it to be accessible for all users and not really have people be priced out of it. So I think that's a big
Mhm.
thing. By the
Yeah.
way, shout out to the token portal. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's looking nice. Front page right there. You see Chris Coffee and crypto. All jokes aside, I'm having Reese on the channel this week, and that's why that it says that. But there is a token portal now for those that haven't been following. That kind of gives you like a ton of information on how to buy OMI, what OMI is, what is VV. It looks really nice. It's super easy to navigate. Here is the OUP staking tiers, fast tracking, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. It's probably under staking rewards if I had to guess about the ticket. So yeah, we could use all of this for reference. Let's see. Maybe the tickets aren't here, but it does have the staking tiers and everything. Oh well, we'll go back to the tickets later. We do have the bronze ticket right here. So I watched your video, and basically you said in a nice way that you would see more value in the bronze ticket than a silver ticket. Like the silver tickets didn't really. I don't want to put words in
Yeah.
your mouth, but
Yeah.
basically they
Yeah.
didn't impress you
I
much.
definitely
You
kind
want
of
to
feel
expand?
that way. Bronze tickets, clear utility there. I think that's really elegant solution. But I think I was just thinking about it. Like the silver ticket is kind of a little bit random in a sense. It's different, right? You can use that to pay for some of your fees for whatever transaction. I think it's maybe a little bit harder to figure out a situation where you can actually realize that. And I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't have a situation where a silver ticket is just worth 3 buy-in or three bronze tickets. But I think they probably thought of that initially, and there might have been a reason why they decided to not go that route and to instead kind of be a weaker offering. Because I think the bronze ticket is very clear utility, the gold ticket is very clear, and the silver is kind of like eh. But I think they use the silver ticket to maybe incentivize you to maybe consider trying to use that gold ticket, or I think it's hard to find a middle ground utility that would fit, and I'm sure they thought about having the silver ticket be worth a few more bronze tickets or something. But that was my only peeve with the silver tickets. Everything else was great.
Yeah, no, for sure. That makes sense. I just remember that specific part of the video that you were talking about as far as the silver tickets goes. And I think earlier it had, let me go back to the portal. Here's the tickets on the right side. If you guys can see it, I know it's a little small. So you need to be, what is it? Which tier do you need for the silver ticket? I'm misreading this right now.
I mean, I think you can get the silver ticket with just tier one, even on
Just tier
that
one. Okay.
chart there. But I just think that the utility for a silver ticket, like, would you buy a silver ticket? Let's just say that.
Yeah,
And, I think the use case for that as it's built right now, it's a little bit harder. Whereas a gold ticket, yeah, I'm definitely buying that, right? If I can definitely secure a drop, that definitely
I
has a
found
lot
it.
of value. Yeah, there we go.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. So this is the coveted silver ticket, or the not so coveted silver ticket that we're talking about. So it has can be redeemed to waive all OUP buyer fees for a single transaction in the following functions: OMI to NFT, OMI to ticket, OMI to accessory. seasonal staking rewards for all staking tiers, yearly staking rewards for all staking tiers, and one-time progression rewards. So you think most people are probably either just going to like be content with bronze or just skip over and go to gold?
Yeah, I think they're either going to just buy a bunch of bronze tickets because it's easier to kind of assess value there, or they're just going to jump straight to the gold ticket. And even pricing, I think it's easier to price. Well, you can't actually sell your bronze tickets, but that has a clear value. $1. Gold tickets, I think, will be pretty easy to value as well. If it's in the market, will determine that really quickly. I imagine people are going to use that for like big grail pieces. So it'll be priced in a way that it makes sense to buy and still secure a drop and still make a profit, right? If you can,
Mm-hmm.
you're like an AF-15 and use this golden ticket, that clearly has a lot of value. And
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
For sure, that definitely makes sense. Somebody commented, Cool Mo, earlier that on stream last night, Foster and Pudding on
wow.
Twitch, they said that land you receive via Tier 5 at Season 5 will be exclusive land. Think Beverly Hills for OMI Wells. What's
That's
your thoughts on that?
incredible.
Like, what do you think? What does special land look like in this metaverse?
Yeah, I think I think the best way to approach it is like, how do we approach land in the real world, right? We know that, high value areas, people, want to go to high value areas or really popular areas, and hence the value of that is going to be really high. So, it could be a situation where, I mean, I have no idea, but
Mm,
maybe Dan Carruthers and David, you have a house, and then all the surrounding areas are like season 5 or, tier 5
yeah.
landholders. I mean, that could easily be a situation there. So, it'll be interesting to see because I don't really know off the top of my head how land really fits in with a collecting app. I can see, a vault. I understand that, but how does land fit in there? So that'll be
Mm.
the X factor that I think if the team can figure that out, this could be really, really awesome.
Oh heck yeah, dude. So it's already been shown that like as far as like Bored Apes go, they drop their land and theirs is already like a picture to where like the center land goes for a lot more value than like the outer lands, and it kind of like goes, and then each of those have different properties that have different value propositions. But yeah, if it's anything like that, that like center land, that tier 5 land is going to be a high ticket item, a very valuable item that people are going to treasure. For the apes, the speculation is like if you get like a big concert, like one of the huge artists to come, you can almost view it like a concert. Are you going to be like one of those lands that's like front row to that concert? Or are you going to kind of like be like in the nosebleed section? Like which section are you going to be? But there's so much speculation with all that. I'm like you though, like with a collecting app, like it's very interesting to think of just land in general and how it implements. And is tier 5 going to be next to use kingdom? Like, well, exactly how that's going to play out is pretty abstract. And, we don't have to dive into that too much. We can look at more of just the practical things. I had something else pulled up for us as well. Just the actual staking tiers. Here, let me go ahead and pull that up. And I apologize thank you guys, everybody who's here right now watching. I actually have been using a different program. So if you see me kind of bugging a little bit like I am right now, that's why. So this is the OUP staking tier amounts. If you haven't watched Dan's videos and you haven't watched the initial video, what's your opinion just on the staking amount, the fast track, and just these tiers?
Yeah, I think originally Reese said that tier 5 or the highest tier would be about $50,000. I think they realized that's probably a little bit too much and decreased it down to about $40,000. But I think that it does make sense to have a tier to spend $40,000 and get $40,000 of OMI and stake that up. I think it does make a little bit of sense when you realize the rewards you get from staking, and you get potentially non-licensed IP that goes from common all the way to secret rare. So if you get tier 5, you get that whole set. Depending on how they do that, that could be some of the most rare collectibles that are on the app, especially this first season when they first roll out the staking program. I know some people that have already said that they obviously have some money, but they want to immediately fast track it. And there's some speculation that you might have to fast track all the way to tier 5 to guarantee you get that secret rare collectible at the end of that reward season. I think that's a little bit too speculative. I think Pudding Cheeks recently talked about how we shouldn't speculate too much. This is all subject to change, but that just shows you how much value you can get from staking. If you get even if you look at the VV gold and silver logo, that's worth like, I don't know, 4 or 5 thousand gems on the secondary market. I can only imagine something even rarer than that, that maybe is really really cool. How much that could be worth? You could easily get a 10% return on your money every year by getting these special collectibles. And that's one thing I've talked about is, if you're staking $40,000, that's a lot of money. That's a down payment on a
Yeah.
house. You can buy a rental property with that. You can't just get something that's non-monetary. You have to get some reward that makes it worth it. And if you get a special set every single year for staking 40, $50,000, then you can sell all that and make a great return on your money. And so I think what they're doing is really good. It really incentivizes you to actually stake.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And not to build like false hype or whatever, but yeah, I already had somebody DM me that has no OMI right now asking if they should buy the 40,000 to and fast track to the and fast track to the tier 5. And I was like, bro, I'm not answering that. That's for you to decide. But I mean, there's people out there that like, obviously it's okay. Like they're completely set to lock up that money and have that for the rewards. And I'm like you, like if it does make sense. I mean, what 40,000? You said 10%, but I mean, it could even be higher than that. Like
Yeah,
depending on what it is, how the market's doing, and all that.
I think it could be higher, significantly higher. Great return on your money. Potentially. Non-financial advice, of
Yeah, of
course,
course.
but like the fast track fees, it's not like you pay 4,000, you can fast track with $40,000. You have to pay all those fast track fees. So it would be 4,000 plus 2,000 plus 1,000 plus 500. You got to pay all those fees to go up the tiers, according
Yeah,
to the current rules. So that's a lot of money. That's $7,500.
yeah.
I personally wouldn't do that. That's a lot of money for me. So, but to each their own.
Now that money that is being burnt in OMI, correct? Like the fast track, or
Yes.
has that changed?
Yes.
Okay, I thought I heard Reese mention it, and I remember originally that was the plan, but I didn't know for sure. So that's bullish for OMI. That's a good burning mechanism, just the fast track alone.
Yeah. I think this is great for OMI investors. This is what we've been waiting for a long time. It's so much better than just the buyback model. And I did want to talk about buybacks a little bit. I know they said that buybacks are going away because of
Yeah,
regulatory reasons. But Reese said something on Telegram. I don't know if you saw some of those messages, but the quote here is, a lot of that business development probably won't see the light of day, which is why we count it out when we do the numbers. And I was thinking about, why you wouldn't use those business development tokens, because it's basically on the ETH side, it's about 33.3 billion OMIs. And I think that's something like, I forgot what it was, $55 million worth of value, something like that. Why wouldn't you use that? You might not use that because it might be construed as you selling your stock or your security in terms of tokens and
yeah.
getting value so you can do stuff. So when you factor that in, potentially those tokens may never be used. I mean,
Hmm.
that really shrinks the circulating supply already. Even if they don't
Yeah.
burn it, they just keep it and never use it.
It's an
Um,
irrelevant supply, kind of like that.
yeah,
The 300 million that got locked up.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, similar to that. I've always joked around about how David Yu is just gonna use all of his OMI to buy a mansion in the VV verse, and it's gonna burn the OMI and make him like king of the VV verse at the same time
Sure.
without like him extracting like monetary value. So
Yeah.
it's a conspiracy of mine, man. Yeah, I'm definitely. I don't know. I've definitely been impressed, and I know you mentioned this in your video too. Like one of the things that people did have a problem with was the timelines. Um, I'll give my 2 cents about this first. I realized I didn't have it popped up. Um, I think this is good. I don't like hardcore timelines because that's screwed Vivi in the past of saying
Yeah.
by this date we're gonna have this done. So I think Dan Scabell like a year ago on a space was like, hey, you guys need to have something basically like this, saying like this is a progress bar, but we're not gonna say this progress bar ends, January 1st or whatever.
Yeah.
So I kind of like the abstractness, the honesty. I know a lot of people do have problems. The fact that obviously most of these are like just getting started. What's your opinion on this?
Yeah. The problem with this thing is there's no time scale to it, right? We don't know because these little circles here, the burn reward points, for example, and all the other things seem to be minimal progress has been made. That's roughly like 20% or so of the circle, I believe. Maybe it's a little bit less. But there's no scale to that, so we don't know, what that truly means. The waitlist system might drop in 3 months, but we may not have crypto to gems for like maybe 6 to 9 months later. We just don't know the time scale to this. Reese did say that he would expect all of these features to be live within 12 months. And he said this on the Akomi Telegram group. So that means that we could see waitlist drop system crypto to gem here in maybe even 3 to 6 months, and maybe the rest, you know, very shortly after, have all of these features available this time next year. Now, next year, yeah. But granted, even if you believe only 50% of what Reese says, that would mean 50% of those items we could see next year, and that'd be really
Yeah.
incredibly bullish. Buying OMI on the web app, OMI to Gem, we could have quite a lot of this actually by 2023, quarter three, quarter four, and that would satisfy me. And lastly, I mean, were you really surprised that they didn't have these items out? I mean, I wasn't. I mean, they've kind of prepped us in the sense that, like, you know, we might not have any of these things. So I wasn't expecting any of these things by the end of the year. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, neither was I. I mean, a lot of this isn't overnight stuff, and I didn't expect an announcement, and then boom, it started to happen. So it definitely makes sense. I do think, and you mentioned this in your video as well, that the charts might have reflected possible. So I think some of it was buy the rumor, sell the news, but I also do think some people might have just saw the timelines and said, well, this has plenty of room to get back to where it was or lower, which is understandable. Like honestly, like I don't really trade OMI that much, but I do trade a lot of other things, and it crossed my mind like
Yeah.
maybe I should load up before the announcement, sell on the announcement because that's like a trader strategy. But
Right.
obviously, I'm accumulating OMI for the long call, which you can still do. I saw people set sell and then set buy orders, right after they sold. But anyways, we did see it. It's hard to tell on this like 14-day chart. Maybe on the 7-day chart, you can kind of see where people that accumulated it before actually are still sitting probably in the money. But we did see a pretty big drop off after, like right after the announcement, and right now the whole market kind of got crushed because of the FTX stuff. But yeah, so
Yeah.
what do you think about the? Do you think this was caused mainly by the timelines, or do you think this is just traders
Yeah.
doing trader
I
things?
was I had Bit4X up actually while I was watching the AMA, and it's pretty funny because as soon as that thing came up, those timelines, there was immediate sell orders. So there's really only about 30, maybe 40, possibly even 50 people that really have enough OMI to like cause some sort of sell orders and crush the price. So most likely it was in OG from 2018, that was sitting there, waiting in case like something bullish would happen. And then when clearly, wasn't really what they were anticipating, they kind of sold off. It reminded me of like Doge actually. I
Mhm.
don't know if you remember when Elon was on SNL. People
Yeah,
were
I remember.
buying,
Yeah.
prices going up, and then at a certain point, it became very clear that he wasn't going to yell like Doge to the moon, and there was immediate selling. So I think it was definitely a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of story.
Yeah, I was there for Doge, and yeah, I completely remember that. It was a lot like that. You made a comment about how there's only like a certain amount of wallets that can move the market. So here's a little bit of alpha for the viewers. Now, I mean, it's been at ERC20 for a while, but you can go to Etherscan, find the token address, and you can actually like when you're in the contract, you can let's see, I lost my train of thought. Click on OMI token and go to holders. And then boom, here's your top holders of OMI right here. Shows you the percentages, the value, and how much OMI they have. And what Dan said was spot on. There are around 30 people, because I just looked at this the other day, with over a billion OMI. 32. So if you ever just want to look at wallets or wallet track or all that, it's kind of what I do every week. It's just kind of fun. And there's a lot of these are exchanges, a lot of these are reserve, a lot of it's important to understand that these aren't all individual people. I mean, you literally have a Syndex right here, Immutable X Bridge right here, OKX right here, all that fun stuff. Let's get back to the OUP. Is there anything Okay, so besides, and you kind of just gave your opinion on this, talking about other people. Is there anything about the OUP you didn't like besides maybe those silver tickets?
Um, I wish they had a little bit of clarity on the OMI2 accessory. I mean, I know that's kind of a minor point, but I think that will
Mm,
actually be a bigger deal as things play out. When you have your collectibles, you have your vault, maybe even have a house now, and it's sitting on VV land. I mean, there's going to be a huge need for accessories, and I think accessories are one of those things that, I mean, that could be a sleeper hit that we're not really considering, just depending on how many accessories are released, what the pricing is. I mean, people love to customize things. We see this with skins and games. I mean, this could be a great situation where we burn quite a bit of OMI. And I
true.
think sooner or later, people are going to realize the direction of this project. They're going to hear about it. Pretty soon, it's going to be reflected in the price. It might take 2 or 3 years, but it's going to happen eventually.
So my response to that is I do think accessories is going to be MCP. Now, I guess it doesn't have to be MCP exclusive, but it's been so long since I've even thought about this concept. I'm pretty sure the reason that it's MCP is because they didn't want it to fall under a security, because MCP is these imaginary points that you get and you accumulate, obviously, for using the app, owning collectibles, having sets, blah, blah, blah. So being able to use those imaginary points to buy accessories, opposed to maybe, I don't know. I feel like there is probably a way they can mix it with OUP, but I don't know. Maybe they want to specifically just keep it towards the Master Collector program.
Yeah, I'm excited about MCP as well. I feel like they actually they spent so much time, it seems. A lot of MCP ideas we actually see here in OUP, like the tickets. We Reese said on Twitter that the tickets are actually a unique OUP feature, whereas 6 months ago, the way they were talking about MCP, it sounded like there's going to be a duplicate system where you can use MCP points as these raffle tickets, as they called it, but
Mhm. I
previously.
remember
So, I hope MCP is not too neutered, so to speak.
that. No, yeah, for sure. That makes sense. I had a lot of people asking about like MCP questions, and Reese obviously deals way more with the OMI side of things. So this is OMI exclusive. Everything we're looking at is pretty OUP exclusive. Like MCP is like an entirely different story. Which, by the way, going back to, I don't know if you said this or you're referencing Pudding Cheeks about just being careful to like buy a ton of stuff on this news. A lot of people got wrecked doing that. Honestly, my biggest mistake in VV that I've made as far as trading goes is I bought too much stuff based on just MCP, thinking that MCP would come sooner than it did. And now a lot of that stuff that I bought specifically to accumulate points is like down tremendously. If there's any mistakes that I made on VV, it's definitely over. I didn't over leverage myself, but I care too much about a future thing that just I try to put a timeline on, but
Yeah,
so just be careful.
of course.
Somebody asked a question earlier. I did. Let me see if I can find it. I think it was just a Omi to Jim or Jim to Omi. Here it is. Damon asked, um, being that VV is on layer 2, do you think we'll be able to sell our NFTs for Omi? If not, we'll be able to convert our gems to Omi.
That's a good question, actually. I don't know the answer to that. So let's see the first part of the question. You think we have some? So definitely, Omi with Omi to NFT, we'll be able to sell our collectibles for Omi, but I'm not sure if you'll be able to convert gems back to Omi.
I think the original reason you're not able to is because that would consider VV an exchange. So, like, what would be the difference between buying something on Coinbase and trading it out? Because
Yeah.
VV is not an exchange; it's a NFT platform.
And I
So,
know
but
that was a mechanism that the OGs used back in the day to like create more burns
yeah,
and
yeah.
convert it back and forth. So maybe that's another reason why they won't do that. Um,
Yeah, maybe there'd be like manipulation going on
yeah.
if that's the case. I don't know the answer to this question. Was this addressed at all in anything you saw regarding the OUP?
No, definitely not on the Reese side, and I didn't hear that on the Pudding Cheeks Reese AMA today.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. So that was in Discord, right?
Yes, or like Clubhouse, or I think it was Discord, maybe it was Clubhouse, but
Uh, did you pick
Kate,
up any new information in it?
Not really, besides putting Cheeks' comments about not kind of buying things in preparation for this future utility, because there's going to be a lot of changes, and I think you can easily lose a lot of money. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's happened to a lot of people in the past. Way too much speculation. And Reese has done a good job, like several times. Like, I'm open to community feedback. I mean, he did an AMA on Discord. He's doing one on my channel later in the week. He has another one, and obviously the timeline isn't like tomorrow on a lot of this stuff. So I think they're very open to community's feedback on that. What would your feedback be if you had to like just say, this is my short, I want to say TIL today, like my short feedback on the OUP.
Yeah, I really I've said this a few times, different places, but I really believe that the OUP program is really truly a masterpiece.
Mm,
So anything I have, I don't really have any negative feedback besides maybe my thoughts on the silver tickets. I think there's bound to be problems as they implement these things, kind of things that maybe it's impossible to foresee going forward, but they'll be really realized. Once this is all implemented. But one thing maybe is the OMI to gem pool. I know they funded it already. I hope that there isn't going to be a situation where there's constantly, okay, hey, you can't do OMI to gems. There's not enough money in the pool. I'm sure they modeled that all out, but that would be another fear, and I think that would create a lot of FUD and kind of
mm.
a run on the bank type situation. But all in all, I think it was a very good product here.
Yeah, sweet man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to even the timeline, man. Like I'm here not just for the finale, but I'm here for the ride.
Mhm.
I'm excited because we're about to meet up at DCon in Anaheim, and I'm sure some of the people watching might be at Anaheim as well. Be able to celebrate like the future together and be in the moment. I think too many people want that like instantaneous pleasure of 10xing, 100xing overnight.
Yeah.
But it's all part of it. So I'm excited, to be a part of it. I learned a lot, and when we went from Euphoria to Bear Market, I learned a lot, and it taught me to be better in areas. So I'm even more ready next time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
um, cool. I think I had one more question for you. Let's see. I also had a interview right before this on another channel, and it ran long. So it like completely cut out my like final prep time. Also, we're gonna go for a couple more minutes. My wife's sick, so I'm definitely gonna I have to go help with the kids. If anybody in the comments during this time period has any questions for Dan, would like to say anything, or any questions like in general, or any thoughts on the OUP, feel free to share it. As I'm trying to pull up that one of my conclusive thoughts. I'm trying to think if there's a major point of the OUP that we didn't hit. It looks like we hit a lot of them though. Justin said the polo is iconic look. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Looking forward to seeing you too, Steve. I'm super excited about it. I think I've been to Anaheim like once in my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, California a couple times.
Yeah, one thing I think is kind of underrated is like there's the burn reward points. So if you do something that burns OMI, you get like these other burn reward points that you can
Mhm.
use for different things like buy tickets with. That was kind of didn't really have much there, but I think that could be something that you know there could be something we're missing with that piece that we haven't really heard much about. But it'll be
So
interesting to
is
see.
that like there's a lot of people making like mini games, like Brock made one, a millionaire I think made one, a couple of other people. So you're saying like these, and there's actually a tab that says burn reward points, like actually might come with some sort of incentive.
Yeah, so I don't think it's going to be fees earned on other people's projects. I think that'll be completely separate from this. But for example,
Okay.
let's say you, I don't know, you sell something from OMI to NFT. Some of those fees are used to burn. The OMI is burnt, right? You get some points related to that. So every $1 of OMI burnt is actually worth one burn reward point. So that's another way to actually potentially, use those reward points to buy tickets. So you're not just burning money, for the sake of burning OMI. You can actually get some value out of that, which is kind of interesting. And obviously, it wasn't talked about too much, it's a very small blurb there, but you know, that could be interesting too.
Yeah, see that right here. So when you talked about it, do you think this is going to be like a separate like menu to where you literally just like straight up like burn your OMI for points, or like I don't know, how do you think it's going to look?
Yeah, I think they're just going to keep it simple. I mean, there's no sense in just burning your own OMI for the sake of burn reward points.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I think it's a way like a consolation prize of like, oh, why did I pay 5% to sell something in OMI or buy something in OMI? You get this kind of consolation prize of, well, at least you can get some value out of that instead of like, the Comey just took my money and burnt it. That's
Hmm.
what I think it is.
Do you think that like even the fast track counts towards this?
There was some caveat there. I didn't kind of understand that. I think you'd have to read that a little bit in a little bit more detail, but it mentioned how one part of fast tracking didn't count.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so,
That'd be kind of cool, honestly. I feel like that's an extra incentive for people to fast track if it does
oh,
count. Like
these
I
points
wouldn't be
can be
mad at it.
used for fast tracking of staking tiers. However, spending OMI to fast track will not earn burn reward points. So,
Hmm.
if like if you use OMI to gems and you get this, this 2% fee or whatever, you'll get that value that you can use to maybe fast track. But like, spending $7,500 to fast track to tier 5, that won't give you $7,500 worth of uh, burn reward point value. Yeah.
Got
So.
you, got you. Cool. There was another question by Damon. Tiers 1 through 5 activates renting. Thoughts on how this would work?
Yeah, that'll be interesting. They did talk about that in the Pudding Cheeks Reese AMA of, they didn't want to put too much out there because it's already pretty complicated. So there's a lot more to that. I don't know how that would work at all, but they mentioned something how higher tiers might get better benefits. I still don't even understand, like right now, would you rent like a collectible right now? Probably
Yeah,
not because there's nothing you're going to really be doing with it except maybe you can short with it. By renting you can essentially
that
short the collectible
that's
market. But I
that's
don't think
that's
that's
high level right there, dude.
yeah,
If you could have
that's not
shorted it,
the intent.
bro.
But
Imagine renting somebody's Walt at like 40K, selling it, and then rebuying it back now, and then being like, all right, here's your Walt back.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure that's not the intention of the renting program. I'm sure they're going
Sure.
to add utility to it. Maybe you get a trip to Disneyland with one special collectible, and then you can rent it and
Mhm.
get that. But surely we need to see more before we can even like speculate on what renting would look like.
Yeah, it would be all speculation, and my thoughts is I just don't know how it's gonna work with the licensors. Like, maybe they're gonna be all about it. Maybe they're gonna be like, "Yeah, you can rent this Walt." I don't own a Walt, by the way. For, a discount at Disney tickets, or maybe Disney will say, "No, we'd rather not ever have anything to do with renting, utility," and then they can't do that. But I could see it more with their exclusives. I don't own a ticket either, or whatever. Oh, not a ticket. The
Logo.
cards that the logo. Yeah, I don't own a logo either. But I could see like you own a logo, it like gets you a discount at the at Decon, or maybe not Decon as an event, but like maybe it gets you if VV explodes, it's your free ticket to their party, their exclusive party, to their event if they ever put one on, or discounts on things VV related. I could see that kind of running. Like if Dan is going to Anaheim, but like if you weren't going to Anaheim, but you're like, hey, I $10 and I'll let you borrow. Basically, I'll rent you my logo, and then I get all these like deals. Like it values me more than $10 while being there. Then yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that makes sense. But again, that's so much speculation right now. That's all we really
I
have to
think
go off of.
I think real world utility is too expensive. I mean, I think with the VV logo, that's a little different, right? A lot of those benefits are probably going to be real world events. But I think renting in the future will be something in the metaverse or in the VV verse because that's cheaper, right? And if you get special access to a certain area in the VV verse, I mean, what does that cost? That's pennies. That's nothing. Whereas real world events like what Bat Cows is doing, I mean, those are expensive events, and that money is coming
Yeah.
somewhere. It's hard to
Mm.
maintain that long term. But it'll be interesting to see how this space evolves. I mean, it's really fascinating for sure.
Here's some alpha that was shared. I think you were in that chat with me forever ago, Dan. This is something I haven't been doing a good job at, but build that VV following. I'm not talking about on other socials. I'm talking about like actually in the VV app, because if renting becomes a thing and you have thousands and thousands of followers in the app, doesn't matter. You don't have to be an influencer. You don't have to be any like, but if that's something you care about, you can essentially say, hey, my logo's up for grabs, and then 1,000+ people will see it, opposed
Yeah,
to not being active in the app, and only following a couple people, a couple followers, and nobody really sees that you're, offering something. I don't know. Maybe that's nothing. I don't recommend grinding, the heck out of that, but it's just something like random to keep in mind. If all this comes into fruition, maybe actually using the app, which I've done a very poor job at doing, will come in handy.
for sure, for sure.
Johnny Dunn's been crushing it, bro. I don't know what he's at right now, but he had what, thousands of followers in app. I haven't checked in a while.
Yeah, I think he has the most amount of followers that I've seen. I haven't seen any other people that have as many followers as he has. For sure.
It just makes sense though. Smells fun said, can't wait to see you guys at DCon. Palace Zachary, what's up, guys? Yo, what's up, Zachary? He will also be at DCon. I'd rent a logo for DCon. Yeah, I would too. Excited for OUP, but you think they have the resources to deliver in a timely manner? That's a good question. What do you think, Dan?
That is a good question. I would say in the past, and clearly why there have been so many delays is that they didn't have the technical resources, or maybe it wasn't the resources, but proper utilization or management of that. Obviously they have Mitch now, project manager, and every now and then I see some job postings for Vivi on different boards. So I think they will have more resources as time goes on. I'm hoping we get a search bar someday. I think that's like the most basic thing. I don't think it's very difficult, but I'm not a technical person, so maybe it is very difficult. I have no idea.
Yeah, bro, it's so frustrating.
But going forward, I think they will, especially with this project manager, kind of really a technical person, kind of on these people, cracking the whip, so to speak. I think will do wonders for timelines.
I did apply for one of those jobs, by the way. One of
Oh,
those
really?
one of those job postings. I applied.
Oh,
Yeah, just put my name.
oh, was
I
it the
don't need
social
it.
media one?
Yeah, the social media one. They're looking for somebody to run like their Twitter, their Instagram, TikTok, website, blah blah blah. Which I don't really know if that's the exact same job that Corey got with VV3, because he's kind of running. He is running their media, but he's also making their content. So I'm not really too sure if that's like the same thing or that's different. I didn't need it, and I also I won't go down that rabbit hole too much, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. Superstar set, hello, search bar gate. Yeah, search bar is super frustrating. Like every time somebody's talking about a collectible, like I try to go find it in the search bar and like it doesn't work. So it's just really freaking annoying. Okrian said the staking rewards bronze tickets for the users are only burned to from the VV team the staking rewards or the bronze tickets for the user are OMI burned to from the VV team for this tickets.
No, it's the user's OMI. So you're basically taking your OMI, you're giving it to Vivi, that gets burnt, and then you get a bronze, you get like a ticket that you can use. So I don't think it's coming from the Vivi team.
Now I did hear Reese say that I guess to balance out some of them not having buybacks, we're just gonna burn a portion of the business develop or not business development. Which section of the
Yeah,
uh
they're going to burn 5.6 billion from the business development fund.
okay.
That amount is basically all that the gross 10% of what revenue is made. Minus the 10%. So kind of a gift to us, kind of a show of faith. I know, like the when buybacks was such a such a funny derogatory comment, but I think this is a show of good faith for the community that they're going to do right by us. And plus, they seeded the OMI to gem pool with 1 million. So basically, they're losing 1 million. Well, it's something. I think it's good. I think it really stops that piece of FUD there a little bit.
Sweet, man. We're gonna wrap up. I guess I got like one more question. Are you still bullish on OMI?
Me? Yeah, I'm still buying. I bought some a couple days ago, and it went down in
Okay.
price. But I'm still buying anything below my cost average. I'm very happy to accumulate.
You don't have like a stopping point of like once I hit this number,
Yeah,
I'm good.
my goal was 20 million, but I think I think the ultimate goal now at this point would be 50 million OMI. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to get there, but 25 would be good too. So I think that will change as I hit certain goals and milestones. But at a certain point, I have a family. I can't just send all of our money into OMI. I need to have a backup plan in case something crazy happens. This is crypto. So I eventually have to be responsible and say that's too much risk. That's enough for me. So I don't know when that is though.
I respect that, dude. 100% respect that. This is crypto. Like, bad things happen. We watched FTX, with withhold withdrawals this morning, which is significant, even though they did end up getting bailed out a little bit. But yeah, that's awesome, man. I had goals and then I moved them a little bit. I do think there's going to be a point to where I'm going to say enough is enough. I just don't know what that number is yet, and that's just, again, everybody's different. I can't over leverage. I'm not going to over leverage. I have a family and I have a business. I have things to uphold. So I'm not going to over leverage in any area of the market. Some people can, and that's fine. Some people over leverage and it works. Some people over leverage and they get wrecked. So I guess we'll just see for OMI. Damon said, great information, guys. Thank you. Have an awesome day. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this right now and you're not subscribed to the channel, please take a moment, subscribe, like this video for the YouTube algorithms. Go subscribe to Dan. I shouted out at the beginning of the video. I'll shout it out again. He's almost at 8K subs, so let's get him over 8K for everybody that's watching this now or watching this later. That'd be awesome. Congrats to you, Dan, for your success on this.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'm assuming you're making OMI content for like years to come, man. Like, this is
this is definitely a hobby for me. I mean, I make a little bit of money, but it's just nothing in comparison to my salary and stuff. So it's all for fun. Maybe when OMI hits like 10 cents, I might quit, but until then, I'll just keep doing this.
cool, dude. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Content's not easy. I said that at the beginning as well. Like, hours and hours and hours went into these last 2 videos that you made, much less all your other videos. I've been there because, again, you gotta be present. There's a difference between like watching stuff that just kind of like you're listening and then you kind of catch some of it or whatever, and then like intently like taking notes, constructing this in format that retains attention, that is interesting, that is short, having to cut the things that aren't, editing that, and then putting out that information, and then trying to get people to see that information. Like, man, I saw you put out 2 videos already. I'm just like, he's crushing it.
For sure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sweet, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. Thank you guys for watching. And yeah, tune in Thursday. Going to have Reese on the channel for an AMA. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments of this video or message me on Twitter, respond to something on Twitter. See you guys next time. Peace out.
See you.
Sweet, Dan. Thank you.